Good evening, everyone. I have a candle review for you tonight of Bath & Body Works Candle Day 2025 candle. So this was their signature candle for this past candle day. I know I am a little bit late in the game here with this review because obviously Candle Day is long since passed. However, I feel like this is a good fragrance to melt as we sort of try to segue into spring. So I am reviewing it tonight. So you can see I've burned it about a third of the way down, maybe just a little bit less than that. But I feel I have a pretty good idea of burn quality and scent throw to do this review. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. So quickly, kind of a funny story about picking up this candle. On Candle Day, I really had this plan to just kind of get what I wanted, and get out pretty quickly. I'm pregnant, I get out of breath easily, and I was not looking forward to lugging around, big totes of candles and trying to navigate through a crowd. In my store, for Candle Day, I actually ended up going to my outlet store because they tend to have a broader selection and sometimes some things that you can't find. So it was pretty busy. It was not like, I've seen some candle days where the crowd is crazy, where the line is out the door. That was definitely not the case this time around. However, it was busy. So this was front and center, right when you walked in the doors. And so it was the first candle that I picked up, and I smelled it, and I didn't even look at the bottom to see what the fragrance really was or what the scent notes were. I smelled it and I was like, oh, this is kind of an interesting floral. Was literally my first impression. Like a powdery floral, which I like florals, but powdery florals can be for me. So I did not realize what this fragrance was. I didn't look at the bottom. I honestly put it in my tote to purchase for nostalgic purposes, to look back on Candle Day, right? Because it's their signature Candle Day scent. Little did I know that it would actually have a lot more nostalgia attached to it for me. So anyway, finished shopping for the rest of the candles that I bought, went home, ended up kind of tucking everything away. I bought some things for gifts, some things for me. And later on, I ended up seeing a review pop up of this candle. And so I watched it, and I realized as she was talking about it that this is Sun-Ripened raspberry. I had no idea at the time that I smelled it. So of course, I go and I pull this candle out and I smell it again. And now all of the nostalgia and the scent memories that are attached to scents, especially fragrances from your childhood and early life, all came flooding back. Sun-Ripened raspberry, I believe it was really like one of Bath & Body Works' first fragrances. I mean, it has been around since the 90s. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's been around since the 90s. It's gone through many packaging changes. I don't know the last time it's come back. Obviously, it's not available in body care, right now or even this past fall or winter. So I don't know when the last time it's been available to purchase in like body care format, but I do remember this very distinctly as a kid. I know I've probably purchased a body mist in it. I can almost picture the like the circular traditional spray body mists that they used to have. Like the ones that we have now are like cylindrical, and the ones that they used to have are just like a very traditional spray bottle. So I remember what this used to look like in that old packaging. So I know I've owned this in the past in that format, probably even in a lotion way back then too. And so now, with the knowledge that this is Sun-Ripened raspberry, I smelled it and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm so glad I bought this. So what's really funny, I just think it's really funny how when I smelled this on cold with no knowledge of what it was coming off floral to me. And then when I smelled this, knowing what it was, I was able to pick out all of those individual notes that I know to be associated with sun-ripened raspberry. So it's kind of interesting because it makes me think, I wonder how much of fragrance scent notes and things like that end up being like placebo effect. Like if they say it's in there, can we smell it because they said it's in there? Or did I just need to sit with it and think about it a little bit longer? You know what I mean? So anywho, that was just, that was interesting to me, how my first reaction definitely differed from my second reaction to it when I knew what it was. So the scent notes on this, I believe, are red berries, sheer sunlight, and sugar crystals. So this is definitely a tart raspberry to my nose. Again, all of this is my personal fragrance experience. To my nose, this is a tart raspberry with a hint of sweetness. Like the sugar crystals in there are not making this juicy. They're not, this is much more of a body care than anything else. This is not an overly fruity fragrance. You could easily, if you don't know what you're looking for, I think you could easily interpret the red raspberry as like a floral instead. I think there might actually be strawberry in here too. I think in some variation of this fragrance, I remember seeing a more detailed scent list. And I think there was maybe some strawberry in here too. I don't really pick that out personally, but I smell a tart raspberry where you're almost getting the green, the plant as well. And then it's almost like a raspberry plant that's in the sun, that's like baking in the sun, that's growing in the sun. There's that sheer sunlight. I'm not exactly sure what that is or what that's what's mimicking, quote, sheer sunlight. But it could be like a little bit of like a citrus, could be even like a little bit of a very light musk maybe. But there's something that adds like an extra level of brightness to this. It might even be like a little bit of floral. Like I said, when I first picked this up, I kind of smelled what I thought was white floral. So it might almost be a little touch of white floral is what their their sheer sunlight is. But there's definitely some green to this, either green or floral, in addition to that tart raspberry, and then just like a hint of sweetness. I really like it. Of course, I have that personal attachment to it because of, the fact that I remember it from one of my first experiences with Bath and Body Works. So there's definitely that nostalgia factor for me. When I was looking at other people's experiences with this online, it seemed like a lot of people had kind of my first reaction to it was that like, whoa, this is kind of like a powdery floral, powdery linen, I even heard. And I can see where they're coming from. I can see where they're coming from because that was without knowing what it was, without having smelled it in well over a decade, that was a little bit of my first reaction. And then when I sat with it and I sat with the scent notes and all that came flooding back, I was able to pick out some of those different things. And so, I love it. I personally love the fragrance. It could be that I love it because it's nostalgic. That's very possible. So I'm definitely interested to see what other people thought of it, especially if you are maybe a little bit younger and you have no experience, or, maybe you're new to Bath and Body Works. You didn't use their products back then. I'm curious to know what you thought of it if this is your first experience with Sun-Ripened Raspberry. But yeah. So that's about it. So then as far as the fragrance goes, so in terms of fragrance throw, it was okay. Yeah. So I have this in my bedroom right now. At one point I actually moved it to my bathroom because I was kind of having a hard time smelling it. At first when I started burning it, I could smell it pretty well. And then I think I went nose blind to it. So I moved it into my bathroom because obviously I'm kind of in and out of my bathroom. I'm at no point am I in there for long periods of time. because I just wanted to kind of smell it a little bit better and get reacquainted with it. And so I really think that this is probably best for a bedroom or a bathroom, though. I think this would have for sure gotten lost in my living room, in my kitchen. And that's kind of, for me, Bath & Body Works is a little bit hit or miss when it comes to throw. I often have pretty good experiences in a medium-sized room. This is just, even in that medium-sized room, even in this bedroom, it is still more of a subtle fragrance. I think I might end up dumping some of the wax into one of my tea light warmers to get a little bit stronger throw for a period of time, just because I like a higher scent intensity. But it wasn't bad. I'd probably give it, maybe a 6 out of 10 in terms of strength and throw. But yeah, that's about it. So that is Bath & Body Works Candle Day 2025 candle. If you pick this up and burn this yourself, I'd love to know what you thought. I would love to know if you, prior to burning this candle, if you if you've smelled Sun-Ripened raspberry in the past, like way back when. Does it smell the same to you? To me, it smells the same, but sometimes I know formulations and things like that change. So anyway, I hope everyone has a lovely evening. Thanks for watching.